Honestly, I don't even think about nothing. I don't think about anything. If it's not words or anything, at this point, it can't do anything to me. I know, the God put the ability and the power within me to not even think about nobody else's comments, not care. It is what it is. I spoke with him. He said, nah, bro, that wasn't. He said that wasn't. He told me on the plane. He came up. He was like, nah, bro, that wasn't that you. I see how they trying to spin. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm not tripping, regardless of whatever it was. I don't. Nobody's words or anything affects me, you know. So, yeah.
Did you believe him when he told you it wasn't on you?
Did I believe him? I mean, I feel like you trying to start stuff now. I feel like you trying to start.
Right there, you could feel it. The confidence, the poise, the fire. When Shedeur Sanders opens his mouth, it doesn't sound like a rookie. It doesn't sound like a guy trying to survive camp. It sounds like someone who already believes he belongs. And the Browns locker room is feeling that energy. The media is feeling it. Fans are feeling it. This isn't a normal training camp. This is a takeover. Now, let's back up for a second. The Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders knowing full well the controversy it would spark. Deshaun Watson is on a massive guaranteed contract. The team has already invested years of money, time, and patience into him. But the fact that Cleveland even brought Shedeur into this building tells you something. It tells you that deep down, they're not sure. They're not convinced Watson can still be the guy. And when you draft someone with the star power of Shedeur Sanders, it's not just a football move, it's a statement. This young man isn't just another rookie. He's the son of Deion Sanders, primetime himself. He's lived under bright lights since the day he was born. He walked into Colorado and instantly made that program relevant again. And now, he's doing the same thing to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns thought they were just drafting a quarterback. What they got instead was a movement. And when Shedeur steps up to the mic, you can feel that movement growing. Reporters asked him about his mindset, about how he's handling the moment, and his response was pure Prime DNA. It's just football. I've been doing this my whole life. That's the kind of confidence that rattles veterans. That's the kind of energy that shakes locker rooms. Because let's be honest, not everyone in that Browns locker room is happy about this. You've got Deshaun Watson watching from the sideline, hearing fans cheer louder for Shedeur's throws in practice. You've got Dillon Gabriel, another rookie QB, who's already had words with Shedeur during camp. You've got veterans who came here expecting Watson to lead them, and now they're looking at this kid from Colorado, wondering if he's about to rewrite the script. And let me tell you, Shedeur isn't just rewriting it. He's tearing it up and starting fresh. Now, the media. They can't resist a story like this. Every word Shedeur says gets blown up on Twitter. Every pass he makes in practice is clipped and dissected. And when asked about how he's handling all the noise, he shrugged. He smiled. He said it's just football. That's not a rookie answer. That's the answer of a man who knows the stage was built for him. But the real drama isn't in the press conferences. It's on the practice field. Coaches are already noticing the difference. His timing, his reads, his footwork, it looks NFL ready. And when you combine that with his charisma, his leadership, and his name, you start to realize why there's tension in Berea. Because the Browns have been here before. They've had chaos at quarterback for decades. They've had Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, Brandon Weeden, the list goes on. But Shedeur Sanders is different. He's not just another guy with hype. He's the first quarterback in years who feels like he could change the entire direction of the franchise. Now let's talk about the fans. Cleveland fans are some of the most loyal, most passionate fans in the NFL. They've suffered through heartbreak after heartbreak, but they've never stopped showing up. And right now, they're buzzing about Shedeur. You can feel it online. You can feel it at camp. Every pass he throws, every smile, every confident word, it's feeding the fire. And if you don't think the organization sees that, you're not paying attention. This isn't just about football anymore. It's about hope. And hope in Cleveland has a new name, Shedeur Sanders. But let's not pretend this is all smooth sailing. Tensions are boiling. Dillon Gabriel has already clashed with Shedeur in practice. Veterans are whispering about whether Watson's job is really safe. And the coaching staff? They're stuck in the middle of a storm. Because on one hand, they want to back their $230 million quarterback. But on the other hand, They can't ignore what's happening in front of their eyes.
And the thing that you're looking at here is now, the sad thing about this is you could be seeing two young quarterbacks' careers here get diced up due to faulty management. And I think that's something you got to stand up on, whether you like Gabriel or Shedeur. Like, you have two young quarterbacks here that have some promise. I like Gabriel as a backup for the long term for any team, like in and out, like being a journeyman backup, being a good backup in the league, spot starter. I like Shedeur because I think he can start. I think he's got the potential for that. But it's going to be hard when you're throwing the equipment guys. You got to get your pacing, your timing. You're playing with guys that have been cut. And then you come in the preseason, you deal with that. And you're dealing with, like, not getting your reps for your developments. The Browns are the Browns. That's why you got that meme of that guy in the jersey with all the quarterback nameplates. There's a good chance they're adding 3 or 4 this year to the nameplate. They're adding 3 or 4. There's a good chance. That's how bad this is. And a lot of people come to the channel, and a lot of people hate on me for one way or the other, but it's still the same story. This organization just fumbled the quarterback spot so bad.
That right there was the moment everything changed. Shedeur didn't call anyone out by name. He didn't have to. When a rookie stands up and says everybody's got to earn it, the message is clear. Nobody's safe. Not even Deshaun Watson. Not even the veterans. And this is where it gets dangerous for the Browns. Because the minute you draft Shedeur Sanders, you invite the circus. Every practice becomes a storyline. Every quote becomes a headline. Every throw becomes a debate. And the Browns, a franchise desperate for stability, are now caught in the middle of the loudest quarterback controversy in the NFL. But let me make this clear, Shedeur isn't backing down. He's not here to play nice. He's not here to sit quietly behind Deshaun Watson. He's here to compete. He's here to lead. And from the way he carries himself, from the way his teammates are already responding, it's clear he's not just another rookie waiting his turn. The Browns wanted competition at quarterback. What they got was a revolution. And let me leave you with this. Shedeur Sanders isn't just fighting for a roster spot. He's fighting for Cleveland's future. He's fighting to prove that his name, his talent, and his heart belong at the highest level of this game. And if the Browns aren't careful, they might have no choice but to hand him the keys sooner than anyone expected. Because once the fans turn, once the locker room shifts, once the narrative takes hold, there's no going back. The Cleveland Browns are in chaos. And at the center of it all is Shedeur Sanders. So buckle up, because this isn't just training camp drama. This is the beginning of something much bigger. Something that could shake the entire NFL. And trust me, Shedeur Sanders is ready for it. When you talk about Cleveland Browns quarterbacks, you're talking about decades of pain. You're talking about a franchise that has searched endlessly for stability at the most important position in football. From the ghosts of Otto Graham and Bernie Kosar to the carousel of names that fans would rather forget, Tim Couch, Brady Quinn, Colt McCoy, Brandon Whedon, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield. It's been heartbreak after heartbreak. But that's exactly why Shedeur Sanders is so dangerous for the rest of the NFL. Because Cleveland doesn't just want him. Cleveland needs him. And if you watched his press conference, you saw it. The smile, the confidence, the coolness. He doesn't sound overwhelmed. He doesn't sound like a rookie. He sounds like a guy who's been here before. Because in his mind, he has. He's played under the bright lights at Colorado, where every game was a spectacle. He's been groomed for this moment by Deion Sanders, one of the most legendary competitors to ever touch a football field. Shedeur Sanders was born for pressure. And now, Cleveland is discovering that firsthand. But let's be clear, this is still the NFL. And the NFL doesn't hand out anything. The Browns coaching staff knows that. Kevin Stefanski knows that. And even as Shedeur dazzles the media, even as fans fall in love, there's still that $230 million elephant in the room. Deshaun Watson. Watson's contract isn't just big, it's historic, fully guaranteed. A deal that shook the league when it was signed. And the Browns don't want to admit they might have made a mistake. That's why the front office is nervous. That's why the coaches are cautious. Because if Shedeur Sanders actually wins this job, if he forces his way onto the field, Then the Browns have to admit to the world that their $230 million investment has failed. And that's where the tension comes in. You could see it when Shedeur said, "Everybody's got to earn it." That wasn't just about rookies fighting for roster spots. That was about the quarterback room. That was about the idea that in Shedeur's mind, no one's above the grind. Not even Watson. And the veterans hear that. The locker room hears that. Some respect it. Some resent it. But either way, they can't ignore it. Now let's talk about Dylan Gabriel for a second. Because make no mistake, this isn't just Shedeur versus Watson. Gabriel was drafted too. He's another young QB fighting for attention. And from the reports we've heard, there's already been tension between him and Shedeur in practice. Arguments, shouting, even a couple of dust-ups that had to be cooled down by coaches. This isn't just competition. This is war. And Shedeur? He's not backing down from anyone. Think about that for a second. A rookie, just weeks into his NFL career, standing up to veterans, standing up to fellow rookies, and standing up to a franchise quarterback with one of the biggest contracts in NFL history. That takes guts. That takes confidence. But most importantly, that takes belief. And Shedeur Sanders believes. This is where the Browns find themselves stuck in the middle of a firestorm. Do they back their investment in Deshaun Watson, hoping he finally turns the corner and delivers on the promise he once showed in Houston? Or do they listen to the fans, follow the energy in the locker room, and start building around Shedeur Sanders right now? Here's the problem. Once you unleash Shedeur, there's no turning back. Once he gets on that field, once the fans see him in a live game, once the team rallies behind him, you can't put him back on the bench. Not in Cleveland. Not in a city starving for hope. And that's why this story is so explosive. Because the Browns aren't just managing a quarterback room. They're managing a movement. And movements don't wait. Movements don't sit quietly. Movements demand action. Let's not forget, Shedeur is more than just a quarterback. He's a brand. He's Primetime's son. He's already got a national following, millions of fans who track his every move. The moment he steps onto the field, the NFL spotlight will shift instantly. The Browns will go from just another team in the AFC North to the center of the football universe. And that kind of pressure, that kind of energy, it changes everything. Now let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about Cleveland. This is about the entire NFL. You don't think teams around the league are watching this closely? You don't think other franchises are preparing for the moment Shedeur Sanders takes his first snap? Of course they are. Because the NFL knows what we're seeing in Cleveland right now, the birth of a star. The media circus will only grow louder. ESPN segments, debate shows, social media clips. Every throw he makes in preseason will be dissected. Every look from Watson on the sideline will become a meme. And once the season begins, every mistake Watson makes will lead to louder chants for Shedeur. That's the reality. That's the storm the Browns invited into their building the moment they drafted him. And guess what? That storm is only getting stronger. Now, some people will say it's too soon. They'll say Shedeur needs time. They'll say he needs to sit, to learn, to wait his turn. But let me ask you this. Has Shedeur Sanders ever waited his turn? Has he ever been afraid of the spotlight? Every level he's been at, he's stepped in and taken over. High school, college, now the NFL. Why would Cleveland be any different? And here's the scary part for the rest of the league. He's not just a flashy name. He's not just hype. The tape shows it. The footwork, the accuracy, the decision-making. He has the tools. He has the talent. And when you mix that with the confidence, with the pedigree, with the charisma, you get something rare. You get something special. The Browns thought they were just adding depth. Instead, they might have just drafted the future face of their franchise. So let's bring this home. The Cleveland Browns are in chaos. The quarterback room is divided. The fan base is buzzing. The media is circling like sharks. And at the center of it all is Shedeur Sanders, calm, confident, unshaken. A rookie who doesn't sound like a rookie. A young man carrying not just the weight of his name, but the hopes of a city that has waited far too long for a hero. Shedeur Sanders isn't just here to play football. He's here to take over. And the question isn't if. The question is when. And judging by what we've seen so far, the answer might be sooner than anyone expected. This is Cleveland. This is chaos. This is Shedeur Sanders. Like this video and subscribe to Gridiron Insights for more exciting and interesting NFL content.